Welcome to Sanskrit.com. My name is Paramu. Envious of the wealth of the Pandavas and enraged at the insults from the Pandavas when he visits their palace in Indraprastha, Duryodhana, at the advice of his uncle Shaguni, invites them to a game of dice, in which he defeats them with some dubious help from his uncle. According to the terms of the wager, the Pandavas are forced to go into exile for 12 years and then spend 1 year incognito. If their identity is discovered within that year, they have to repeat the exile. During the 13th year, the Kauravas make all attempts to unmask the Pandavas, but the Pandavas are living incognito at the court of King Virata, and the Kauravas are not able to find them. Suspecting that the Pandavas may be with King Virata, they force a battle against him, knowing that if the Pandavas were living at Virata's court, they will come to the aid of Virata in battle, and thus would expose the fact that they were indeed the Pandavas. This is precisely what happens. Arjuna appears as himself and routs the Kauravas. Duryodhana is happy that the Pandavas have been discovered, but Bhishma tells him that the 13-year period has ended and that the Pandavas were safe from further exile. This is Duryodhana's position. And this is what Bhishma says. Many explanations have been given and many discussions held on the import of Bhishma's words. He is clearly saying that theirs is a lunar calendar and every 5 years, 2 intercalary months are added. However, not many have fully explained the meaning of the 5 years and 12 days that he mentions when referring to the 13 years of exile. The following is my explanation for what the Mahabharata text says. Their system of adding adhika masas or intercalary months to bring lunar years in line with solar may have been simple. At the end of 2 years, they add 1 month, and at the end of 5, they add another. So 2 intercalary months in 5 years. The requirement is to add 2 months in 5 years. Rather than add 2 months at the end of 5 years, it made for more uniformity if they added the 2 months in stages. They may not have wanted to add 1 month in the middle of a year, and hence the strategy of adding 1 month after 2 years and another after 5. This system of adding adhika masas, 1 after 2 years and 1 after 5, is my speculation. This seems to be the only reasonable explanation for Bhishma's words. Coming to the Pandavas, at the end of the 13th year, which would be in the 3rd 5-year cycle of the period, Bhishma knew that 5 months would have been added to the calendar. 2 months in the first 5-year cycle, another 2 in the next 5-year cycle, and 1 after the 12th year. He knew that some days need to be added to the lunar calendar to bring it in consonance with the solar calendar at the end of the 13th year. He does a quick calculation and feels that 12 days needs to be added. The Pandavas also would have done the same calculations and added the 12 days. Duryodhana assumed that when Arjuna appeared as himself at the end of the 13th year, some days were lacking to make it 13 solar years. But Bhishma tells him about the 12 days after the lunar year end that the Pandavas had allowed to elapse before exposing their hidden identities. You can see that the confusion arising from having 2 calendars, solar and lunar, had started as long back as the Mahabharata period.